What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be doing another in-depth analysis over one of the Black Ops Cold War assault rifles as part of the kind of like that series I've been doing with all of these assault rifles. And then I think we have one left, the Groza, and then after that we're going to put them all together, rank all the Black Ops Cold War ones, and then throw all the Modern Warfare ones in there after that in the next video. And finally kind of settle that whole argument of which assault rifle is the best one. That's the plan. If you're interested in something like that, you want to see those videos, I recommend that you subscribe to my channel. But moving on, we're going to be going over the QBZ-83 in today's video. This is one of those assault rifles that I thought was going to be kind of like a hidden gem. One of those metas that comes out later, maybe Season 2, Season 3, where people all of a sudden kind of discover it and start using it a lot more. So we are going to be going over the stats, recoil pattern, and time to kill of this gun, as well as seeing how it changed from Black Ops Cold War to whenever it got integrated into Warzone. And then at the end of the video, I will be also providing a loadout for this gun, as well as kind of like how the gun handles as far as a recoil pattern goes with all the loadout attachments. And I'm also going to be doing a clip where I try and control that recoil so you can see kind of how it would be expected to use in the game. But with all of that said, let's get right into the video. So first of all, with the QBZ-83, you can see that it does have a damage of 28 and a fire rate of 685. In my opinion, this is kind of a very low fire rate in comparison with this damage. I think that this is the same damage as the M4A1, but the M4A1 has a 800 round per minute fire rate. So you're going to be very crippled by this kind of damage fire rate comparison. Bullet velocity is about the standard 625 meters per second. This is about what you would expect for the assault rifles in Black Ops Cold War. The aim down sight speed is a bit faster than normal. Instead of 300 milliseconds, it's 283. Moving down, ammo magazine capacity is the same, about 30. Reload quickness is 1.27. The whole animation is probably about 2 seconds, but this is where you reload the gun and you can kind of cancel the rest of the animation because the bullets like register into your HUD and you see the 30 pop up on your screen and you can go ahead and cancel the animation. Moving forward, the shots to kill at close range to 25 meters was 9. And then after that, it goes to 12. This is for 250 health, which is going to be 3 full plates in Warzone. Moving on to the recoil pattern, it's kind of straight up and down. It goes straight up really quickly and then kind of slows down, and you have like a very tight cluster right here. And I will show you that live right now. So here we are looking at a QBZ-83 from 15 meters away. This is where I test all of the assault rifle recoil patterns on this wall right here. And you're going to see here that it moves up very quickly, and then you have like a small cluster. You're going to see it again, try and pay attention a little bit more. It goes up really quickly, and then it kind of just stays right there. This is not a bad recoil pattern, but it is going to be a little bit hard to predict. Whenever you're pulling down on the right stick, trying to fight that initial recoil, you might end up moving down a little bit too much before you're able to recorrect. This isn't a big deal because things aren't moving left and right at the same time while it's doing that. It's kind of like the AK-47's recoil pattern, except the AK-47 is a very consistent all the way up, making this kind of a decent recoil pattern as far as like your ability to control it and where you can predict where that kind of slowdown is going to happen, where you're going to get that tighter cluster. So moving down to the time to kill versus distance graph right here, a couple things to note is that my time to kill graph is going to be in reverse order of its y-axis, meaning the time to kill increases as you go down, so the gun gets worse as you will go and move down the graph. I think, in my opinion, this is easier to read a time to kill graph, so I do it this way, especially whenever you're looking at a lot of different guns and you kind of just look and see which one is on top. That is going to be your best one. But the time to kill on the QBZ-83 is going to be between 1.1 seconds and 1.46 seconds. Another thing about my time to kill calculation is that it does include the aim down sight speed as well as how long it's going to take the last bullet to exit the barrel and hit the target depending on how many meters away. That's why the time to kill graph has this kind of downward slope to it. Something to note is that it's going to be a 24% increase to time to kill at 30 meters because of that low fire rate and low damage, making it take an extra 3 shots at 30 meters, making this gun not as viable. Again, this is another bad thing about the QBZ. Moving on to how this gun got integrated from Black Ops Cold War into Warzone. In Black Ops Cold War, it had a damage of 32. That got nerfed down to 28. Its effective damage rates also got another significant nerf, going from 45 to 25. Fire rate's the same, bullet velocity is the same, aim down sights is the same. Everything else is the same, except its damage and effective damage rate got a pretty significant nerf. Looking at the recoil pattern now. The recoil pattern did get better. I think that this one in Warzone is a lot easier to control than this sort of wonky, up and then left sort of recoil pattern. It's kind of like a dramatic version of the M4A1 in Warzone, which isn't terrible, but I think that this is easier to control despite it having a quick vertical and then kind of like a cluster right there in the middle where things start to get controlled a little bit easier. Looking at the time to kill versus distance graph, same calculations before, including the bullet velocity and aim down sight speed. You can see that across the board, it shifted to the right and up, or it shifted down and left, making it a worse gun. This is going to be the Warzone gun in comparison to the QBZ and Black Ops Cold War, and you can see that the time to kill increases, making it taking longer, making this gun worse. Across the board, it's kind of one of those weird situations. I expected that all of the Black Ops Cold War guns would get a buff moving into Warzone, making them more viable, but this one actually got a nerf, similar to the Krig, which was also a bad gun in Black Ops Cold War, and now all of a sudden, it's even worse in Warzone. I made a video about that. If you're curious about my opinion on the Krig, you can go ahead and check out that video in my channel. Moving on to the statistics of all the assault rifles that we've collected so far, most of them being Black Ops Cold War weapons, except for a few that were kind of comparable that I made videos on like which one is better, the Kilo or the Krig or the M4, the XM4, AK. You guys get the point. Looking at the QBZ stats, most of these are orange, which is not good. It means that it's not very good at anything in terms of firepower. They're all on the lower end, whereas like normally if like you get like a couple of reds, you normally get a green, or something like the Kilo where they're at least like all yellow, whereas with the QBZ everything's orange, making it, again, statistically speaking, appearing as it is a lower tier assault rifle in Warzone. Like I said, which is kind of disappointing in my opinion, because I thought this was going to be one of the better ones, but that is not the case. It's comparable to the M4 directly with its damage range and its damage, but the fire rate and bullet velocity in the M4 is much better. This high fire rate makes this gun one of the best ones in the game because of how accurate it is, and it still has a high damage. So looking on to kind of comparing recoil patterns, it does have a good one. This is one of the things going for it, but there are better guns that have a higher fire rate, or higher fire rate and more firepower that have similar recoil patterns, or at least similarly in terms of speaking of like how easy they are to control. Kilo, for example, more firepower and an easier control recoil pattern. Same thing with the XM4. This M4's recoil pattern is a little bit harder to control than the QBZ, but it's it has a lot more firepower. I don't know what else to say in terms of, recoil patterns. Like it is very easy to control, but its firepower is not very good. So here I kind of have them all ranked, color-coded in terms of like how easy they are to control. And that's kind of my opinion, but you guys can see that it's true. As far as verticality goes, it goes up a little bit past about where the Krig goes, but it doesn't have that wonky little sideways thing going on. So it is much easier to control as far as recoil goes. Moving on to the time to kill graph of all the assault rifles, it looks kind of busy, but here is the QBZ right here at the bottom, this brown colored one, which I did not do on purpose, but it should have been brown. As you can see, it's not very good at close range comparatively to any of the other assault rifles. The only one that's better than is the Krig, but the Krig is a little bit easier to control than this gun. And it drops off dramatically right here at 30, which is where you want your assault rifle to be good at, and it becomes the worst one until like 50 meters. I think this is the kilo right here, but you know, we all know that with attachments that it's not going to have that drop off ever with the kilo. So yeah, that's the QBZ. Right here in my rankings, it is the worst assault rifle that I've tested so far, in my opinion. Not just, you know, I normally try and rank out all these things. This ranking system is based on their firepower, recoil, time to kill. Right now, I have the M4 and the Kilo at the top, which is, I'm sure, what a lot of people expected to happen. In my opinion, the M4A1 has a slight advantage over the Kilo in terms of firepower. It's going to be this blue one here in comparison to this pink line right here. The M4 has a slightly faster time to kill, and making it a better gun. I think that it is, in terms of accuracy, I think the Kilo is a little bit better, but I think that the M4 makes up for that with its better time to kill. But anyway, as far as the QBZ goes, I will be having loadouts just in case you guys just want to try this gun out for yourself and test it out. This is the best loadout for it right here. So looking at the gunsmith loadout for the QBZ-83, this is the loadout that I would recommend. Agency suppressor, pretty standard. You get sound suppression and damage range, similar to like the monolithic and Modern Warfare. The 15.5 inch reinforced heavy barrel, I would recommend using this because you get effective damage range and bullet velocity, whereas these other barrels you have to choose between one or the other. And the task force makes your recoil worse, and I did a video on it. It doesn't necessarily improve your damage at all either. I think that this attachment does need a fix, and maybe it might make the Black Ops Cold War weapons a little bit more viable in Warzone. Field Agent Grip, get vertical recoil control and horizontal recoil control. This gun doesn't really need the horizontal recoil control at all, to be honest. But I think that this is still the best grip because you at least get vertical recoil control as well. 60 round fast mags, I think this is the best magazine for the Black Ops Cold War weapons. And then I would recommend using the SASR jungle grip so you get the aim down sight time, as well as some flinch resistance. There is flinch resistance in Warzone where there wasn't in Black Ops Cold War, making this attachment very viable in Modern Warfare. You can use an optic if you would like to, but I think that the iron sights in this gun are good enough, and then the stocks are kind of useless in my opinion. And then you can use a laser, but you're not really going to be in hip-fire engagements with an assault rifle, at least you shouldn't be going that route. So this is the loadout that I would recommend. Now taking a look at how this thing handles. So in this first clip, this is me with the QBZ-83 with the same loadout that I just described. And in this first one, I'm not going to do anything at all to try and curve or control the recoil. So you can see that was about 30 bullets, and it seems like the verticality speed is a little bit less, and it seems like you do get more of a cluster and less bullets just going straight upwards. And then I'm going to strafe to the right and then try and control it. It does get away from me a little bit. Like I said, that's the only bad thing about this recoil pattern, is that it doesn't go up consistently, and all of a sudden it's going to give, and you're going to kind of push down a little bit too far, and you're going to have to correct. But after that, all of the bullets should go in the exact same space. As you can see here, I'm going to move up, and you can see kind of where that cluster ended up, which is most of the bullets being pretty much a laser right here, and then this is kind of where I slipped a little bit and came back up. But anyway, that concludes the video. I hope you guys learned something. If you did, please just give this video a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, I will be doing this for every assault rifle in Black Ops Cold War, as well as any new assault rifle that comes out. And then I'm going to be moving on doing the SMGs as well. There's going to be a bunch of gun guides on this channel, so if you are interested in something like that, you should consider subscribing to my channel. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day and a Happy New Year.